Before you decide whether this video is for you, let me ask you something honest. Have you ever stood in front of the mirror and seen someone you didn't like? Not because of how you look, but because you know you could be more, better, stronger, yet somehow, you're still running. And the strange part is, you don't run from failure. You run from the effort it takes to change. You smile in front of people. You say, "I'm fine," but inside, you're tired. And if any of this feels familiar, it's because this video is about you. Now, here's why you should stay. At the end of this video, I will say one sentence. If it doesn't hurt, this video was never meant for you. Because what we're about to talk about isn't motivation. It's confrontation. Pain doesn't ask for permission. It shows up suddenly. It breaks you, and it makes you ask, why me? And this is usually where the story ends for most people. Not because the pain is too big, but because running feels easier than facing it. So they look for comfort, for excuses, for silence. But what if pain didn't come to destroy you? What if pain came to wake you up? Because the real danger isn't pain itself. The real danger is getting used to it. The most dangerous moment in a person's life is not when they fall, not when they suffer, not even when they cry. It's the moment pain becomes normal, when they accept living less than they deserve. And the reason this is dangerous is because nothing dramatic happens. No explosion, no collapse. Just a slow, quiet surrender. Everything you're hearing right now is not theory. It's a lived experience taken to the extreme by one human being. And to understand how extreme transformation happens, you need to understand where it begins. Today, people look at one man and call him the toughest man on the planet, one of the most mentally and physically resilient humans alive. But stories like this are always told backwards. We see the strength and forget the weakness that created it. So before you judge his discipline, you need to see the chaos he came from. He grew up in an abusive household, a childhood filled with fear and violence. He spent his high school years as one of the few black kids in a small town in Indiana, living about 20 miles away from a Ku Klux Klan headquarters. He was bullied relentlessly, barely graduated with a 71% average. He battled obesity twice in his life, weighing over 300 pounds, severe allergies, sickle cell trait, a hereditary heart condition that left a hole in his heart the size of a large poker chip. And for a long time, he didn't see any of this as a challenge. He saw it as proof that he was broken. He felt weak, soft, and full of self-hatred. But one day, he stopped asking, "Why me?" and started saying, "Today, I end the excuses." That sentence didn't change his life. The behavior that followed it did. And this is what happened when excuses were replaced with standards. Completed Navy SEAL training. Graduated from US Army Ranger School, served in Air Force Tactical Air Control, completed Hell Week 3 times, set a world record with 4,030 pull-ups in 24 hours, ran extreme endurance races despite illness and injuries, not because he was gifted, but because he refused to negotiate with his limits. So no, this is not a superhero story. This is a human story. A human who decided to stop running from himself. Please welcome David Goggins. David, your story isn't inspiring because it's extreme. It's inspiring because it's honest. It shows what happens when someone finally stops lying to himself, and that's why these questions matter. Take us back to that moment. The moment you looked in the mirror and said, "Wait, enough is enough." What did you see and what did you feel?
Well, it was pretty crazy for me. It took a while to get to that point where enough was enough. What happened, I came home one night from work spraying for cockroaches. And long story short, I turned on the Discovery Channel, I saw some guys going through Navy SEAL training, and they were going through Hell Week, and they were getting their ass just beat. You know, in and out of the water, guys ringing the bell. They were just suffering. And I was weighing like 297 pounds. And I had to make a change in my life. You know, I was at an all-time low, and I wasn't going anywhere. And I was exactly what everybody said I was gonna be, which was nothing. So I had to make a change.
You often speak about suffering. Why was suffering specifically the spark that ignited this transformation? How did pain turn from an enemy into fuel?
Well, for me, growing up, I came from a horrible background. I got called nigger every day of my life growing up, lived in a small town. The Klan headquarters at that time was about 20 minutes from where I lived. One of the high ups in the KKK, son, sat behind me in 2 classes, so he called me nigger all the time. Got my first car, they spray painted nigger, we're gonna kill you on it. So I was just an insecure, scared kid. And the only way I could find myself was through putting myself through the worst thing possible.
Considering the obesity, the bullying, the rejection, how did you develop clarity when most people run from it? What made you say, "All right, you bastards, this is what I'm gonna do," instead of giving up?
Well, no one was helping me out. So my dad made my mom kind of irregular. So she worked 3 jobs, went to college full time, so she was never around. One time this person drew a picture of me and said, "We're gonna kill you nigger" on my Spanish notebook. And I took it to my principal. And my principal said, "They spelled nigger Niger." That was the best advice he can give me. So long story short, what I realized was no one was here to help me. And the feeling I had every morning, I started shaving my head when I was 16 years old. And the feeling I had every morning, I looked in the mirror, was horrible. And I didn't want to feel like that anymore. And how I felt was a kid going nowhere, a kid that was scared. And most kids will accept that and look for help. But the best thing that happened to me, no one helped me. No one felt sorry for me. No one looked at me and said, like this day and age, they'll take you in and they'll tell everybody, "Stop picking on this person." Back then, they didn't care. The KKK marched in our 4th of July parades. They had to stay 100 yards back, but they marched in it.
Wow.
That's how this town was. And my mom cared about me, but my dad took our soul. And she did the best she could. I had to figure out I wasn't gonna be a punk kid all my life. So the only way I could turn around was to suffer. I had to build calluses in my brain the same way I built calluses on my hands. So I broke the Guinness Book of World Records for pull-ups a long time ago, but I failed at it twice. And I did 67,000 pull-ups in trying to break this record. So to do 4,030 pull-ups, I had to do 67,000 for training for that.
Wow.
And so what I realized is for me to become the man I wanted to become, I saw myself as the weakest person God ever created. But I never blamed God for anything he did to me. So I wanted to change that to be the hardest man ever created. Am I that? I don't know, but you had to have a goal. Right. And my goal when I was sitting there, not going to school, being bullied, having no self-esteem, my goal was the only person that's gonna turn this person around is me. The only way I can turn it around is put myself through the worst things possible a human being can ever endure. And that'd be the only way that I can build this brain to handle anything that comes in front of it, callousing my mind through pain and suffering.
Finally, what advice would you give to that 16-year-old kid standing in front of the mirror, hating what he sees, but still running from hardship?
Well, my biggest advice to him is that, first of all, he won't like what I say to him, because I'm gonna say the exact opposite of what the world, today's world, is saying. So we read a bunch of books nowadays. As humans, we wanna find out how to be someone else. What we don't do is we don't go inside. So literally turn yourself inside out. Read the book that's like we're writing a book every day of our lives, but we never read that book. So what I would challenge this young man or young woman to do is you have to look inside of yourself to see what you really want. What are you passionate about? We use these words and these little phrases of only the strong survive and all this other crap. They're all just fucking words. I get so tired of hearing people just talking. Like right now, someone may think Goggins is just talking. You don't know me. So when I speak from passion, I speak from experience, I speak from suffering. I have to tell this young man or woman that the only way I believe, and this is my experience in life, the only way you're ever going to get to the other side of this journey is you have got to suffer to grow. To grow, you must suffer. And some people will get it and some people won't. But they have to see what their journey is to start their journey. Several people live to be 100 years old and they have great lives and they have great kids. Their kids go to college and all sorts of stuff. But somewhere in their life, there was a point where they had a decision to make. They can go left or right on this path. Left was the easy route. Right was the hard route. A lot of people take the easy route. And they had a good life that way, but the better life was going to the right side. And you may have 20 years of pain and suffering to get past it, but a lot of us die never truly starting our journey. And I would tell this young person, you gotta start your journey. It may suck, but it will come out the other side where you're coasting.
Everything you just heard was not a success story. It was a mirror. David Goggins didn't come to say, I'm better than you. He came to say, I was you. The difference isn't strength. The difference is honesty. And now, you're back at the same place we started this video, in front of the mirror. The question isn't, can you change? The question is, how long will you keep pretending you don't need to? You will never become the person you dream of until you let go of the person you're hiding behind.